Hello, everyone, and thank you for visiting my channel. Today, I want to discuss the risks and considerations expats must be aware of if they plan to continuously donate money in the Philippines. Expats' generosity often has two sides, especially regarding regular monetary donations to local individuals or their families. Assisting those in need can offer short term relief, but making ongoing contributions may expose the donor to various concerns, including financial instability, social manipulation, and legal complications. Stay tuned. Dependency development is one of the biggest problems caused by regular giving. Many residents may begin to rely heavily on the expat to continually give them money, especially in rural or impoverished areas. Some may go as far as telling others in the community about your generosity. And before you know it, more than one person is asking you for money. Not only that, regular donations can eventually foster a sense of entitlement. Instead of working to improve their own situations, Filipinos may start to demand or expect assistance even when they do not urgently need it. Some may offer their daughters up for barter to keep the donations flowing. Of course, in the long run, this situation can become emotionally taxing and financially unsustainable for the expat. And those very people you try to assist may end up hating you when the money stops coming. As I said before, news can spread quickly if an expat is known for being generous with their money. People may begin to approach you under false pretenses. They will use emotional manipulation, including false narratives about family tragedies, medical issues, or tuition fees for school. These stories are often difficult to verify, especially for newcomers who may not be familiar with the language or cultural context. Scammers might even collaborate to create intricate schemes. As a result, the expat often becomes a target rather than a benefactor. If you are in a relationship or friendship with a Filipina, it can be distorted by money, particularly when one side seems to be substantially wealthier than the other. Giving frequently can cause expats to inadvertently change the parameters of their love relationship or friendship. When financial support is involved, it might be challenging to determine true devotion or friendship. Furthermore, the receiver might start to see the expat less as a genuine friend or companion and more as a walking ATM. On the flip side, the donor might develop a savior complex, believing they are single handedly responsible for someone else's well being. Both perspectives are unhealthy and can lead to toxic or codependent relationships. When an expat regularly donates to certain individuals or families in the Philippines, others in the community may notice and grow resentful. Community splits can result from the rapid spread of rumors and jealousy. The expat could then unintentionally become the target of criticism or even hostility. Furthermore, perceived favoritism can escalate tensions among locals, especially if some feel overlooked or neglected. The expat may experience social isolation or targeted for further financial demands. This could make for an unsettling or even dangerous environment for the expat. In some cases, financial transactions or donations can have legal repercussions. For instance, if an expat is caught giving money to a bajau, a beggar on the street corners, he could face taxation and or ticketed, especially if he is perceived to be running a charity or providing financial assistance on a large scale. Moreover, consistent donations to a romantic partner could raise questions about whether the relationship is transactional in nature, potentially affecting visa renewals or legal standing. Keep in mind that in the Philippines, a expat who are suspected of breaking the conditions of their stay may be investigated by the Bureau of Immigration. Even if an expat starts off with ample savings or a reliable income, continuous giving can mount up rapidly and lead to financial strain, particularly if they are made out of emotional attachment, pressure, or guilt. You may even experience financial burnout, realizing too late that your resources are dwindling to almost zero. Without sound boundaries and budgets, you can end up in a terrible situation where you can't even sustain yourself, let alone others. There are those expats who may unintentionally encourage careless or immoral behavior. By giving money to people they know will misuse the money for vices like gambling, drug use, or excessive partying. Instead of helping, the expat ends up funding dysfunction, making them descend further into unhealthy lives. If it involves children, this makes matters even worse. Despite having the best intentions, the expat could inadvertently promote abuse or neglect. Individuals who donate frequently often lack structure and accountability. Unlike NGOs or established charities, it becomes challenging to assess impact and ensure appropriate use of funds without transparency. Even if their assistance yields little to no improvement, expats may feel a moral obligation to continue helping someone. Over time, this situation can take an emotional toll. Feelings of futility, regret, or dissatisfaction may arise from the lack of visible progress. The donation cycle turns unsustainable without clear goals or limits. Locals' perceptions of expats can shift when a small number of them make regular, visible donations. Other expats who choose not to donate may encounter harsh treatment or unjust criticism. This can create hostility within expat groups, where some individuals are seen as generous and others as stingy. Additionally, locals might develop preconceived notions about the kindness and wealth of expats, leading to unrealistic expectations or cultural misunderstandings. As a result, future expats will find it harder to build genuine connections based on respect rather than money. Many expats begin their charitable endeavors with the best of intentions, but over time, they may experience emotional exhaustion. The constant stream of requests, coupled with guilt and moral obligation, can take a psychological toll. Because of these altruistic tendencies, some expats experience anxiety, despair, or loneliness. Feelings of being used, misunderstood, or unappreciated are common. When given is driven by a need for approval or a sense of belonging, these problems are made worse. You see, financial support amongst family members and close friends is typical in Filipino society. Expats may misinterpret this cultural standard because given in the Philippines is usually reciprocal and based on long standing connections. Locals may view foreign donations as the beginning of a long term commitment rather than as charitable contributions. Later support withdrawals by the expat could be interpreted as betrayal, causing offense, and damaging relationships. Expats who give money to partners or local acquaintances may find themselves vulnerable to threats or blackmail, particularly if the relationship deteriorates. Photographs, personal data, or past gifts may be used against them if the recipient feels betrayed or abandoned. In tiny towns or barangays, where reputations may be damaged quickly and word spreads like wildfire, these methods can be very damaging. In order to avoid ongoing harassment or extortion, some expats have been compelled to relocate or leave to other areas in the Philippines. To mitigate these risks, it's best to explore more sustainable and structured ways of contributing to the community. Long lasting effects can be achieved by sponsoring education and skill development, taking part in accredited community development initiatives, or supporting regional NGOs. More equal and empowered connections can also be fostered by volunteering time or skills instead of cash. These alternatives lessen the possibility of misunderstandings, abuse, and dependency. Generosity is admirable, but frequent uncontrolled donations can seriously put expats at risk while living in the Philippines. What starts off as a kind deed can quickly turn into a financial burden, followed by mental exhaustion, social exclusion, and legal issues. Expat must use discernment, establish boundaries, and give community based, sustainable solution precedence over individual handouts. They can still have a significant impact with the correct strategy without jeopardizing their future in the nation, their reputation, or their well being. All right, guys, that is all for today's show. If you have any questions or comments, please comment down below. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a good day.